All right, candle lovers, get ready for a deep dive. Today we're talking about starting a candle business. A business that's not just about crafting those beautiful, fragrant candles,
Yeah.
but also about building a business that can actually,
Yeah,
turn a profit.
that's right. And it's interesting because the market is like booming right now,
Really?
but it's also super saturated.
Okay.
So like before we even get into talking about the waxes and the wicks and all of that, we really need to talk about the strategy involved.
So if someone out there is listening
Yeah.
and really wants to start a candle business,
Mm.
what would you say are some of the first steps they should be taking?
So a lot of the sources that we looked at talk about this, like strong vision,
Right.
but I think it really comes down to research and planning,
Okay.
understanding like who your target market is
Mm.
and what they're looking for in a candle and
Yeah.
what gaps exist in the market that you can fill.
So it's not just as simple as like, oh, I like lavender, so I'm going to make lavender candles.
Pretty much, yeah. You have to ask yourself,
Mhm.
like, who is going to buy my lavender candle?
Right.
What kind of experience are they seeking?
Hmm.
Are they looking for something like luxurious? Or are they looking for something more budget friendly?
Got it.
And every
So
guy,
how do we even go about like figuring out who that person is? I mean, are we talking full-blown market research here?
it can be as simple as like looking at trends
Okay.
on places like Etsy,
Mm.
Amazon, handmade, social media
Yeah.
even. Like what kinds of candles are popular? What are people saying in the reviews? What kind of hashtags are they using?
So that kind of research ties into, I imagine, um, figuring out your unique selling proposition as well.
Exactly.
That's the thing that's going to make your candles stand out.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you focus on all natural, locally sourced ingredients. Maybe you create candles inspired by like literature or travel.
Interesting.
It could be your packaging, your branding,
Okay.
or even the stories that you tell around your candles.
And so we're getting all these like creative juices flowing, but we can't forget about the practical side,
Right.
which is budget.
Right. And the sources that we look at that they mention a startup cost range of like $500 to $3,000.
Okay.
But that can vary so widely
Yeah.
depending on your vision and the scale that you're starting at.
So when we're setting a budget, what are some of the things that we really need to think about?
So, think about your initial investments: wax, wicks, bustles, fragrance oils, and basic equipment.
Okay.
And don't forget about the packaging and marketing materials.
Mhm.
It's so easy to get like caught up
I bet it.
in those creative aspects.
Right.
But you really have to be realistic about the financial commitment that you're making.
Yeah. And there are ways, I imagine, to like minimize those costs as well. Right?
Absolutely. Starting small and scaling up gradually is always a smart approach.
Okay.
You could even explore options like microloans or grants specifically for small businesses.
Great point. Okay. So we have our vision, target audience, our USP, and a budget in mind.
Hmm.
What's next in this candle making adventure?
All right, now we dive into the heart of it all. Choosing the right wax. This might seem simple, but trust me, it's more nuanced than you think.
Okay.
It impacts everything from the scent throw to the burn quality and even the overall, aesthetic of your candle.
So break it down for us. What are our options?
Well, the most common waxes are soy, paraffin, and coconut soy blends.
Mhm.
Each has its pros and cons.
Okay.
And the best choice really depends on your target market
Okay.
and what kind of candle you're creating.
Let's start with soy wax because it seems to be like the darling of the candle making world these days.
It is. Soy wax is natural, it's renewable, it's biodegradable,
Okay.
and it generally burns cleanly.
Right.
And a lot of consumers are drawn to that eco-friendly aspect.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. But I've heard that soy wax doesn't have the strongest scent throw. Is that true?
It's true. It has like a softer, more subtle scent throw compared to paraffin wax.
Okay.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
It can actually be a plus for certain types of candles,
Okay.
like those intended for aromatherapy or creating a relaxing ambience.
I see.
Yeah.
So if someone wants a candle that's going to like really fill the room with fragrance,
Mm-hmm.
soy wax might not be the way to go.
Exactly. And that's where paraffin wax comes in.
Okay.
Paraffin wax is known for its strong scent throw
Hmm.
and its ability to hold a lot of fragrance oil.
Okay.
However, there are downsides.
I was going to say, I've read that paraffin wax is
Yeah.
derived from petroleum,
It is.
which is not very environmentally friendly.
Not the best.
And can release more soot
Yes.
when it burns as well.
Yes, and those are definitely concerns for a lot of consumers these days.
Right.
And that's why soy wax has become so popular.
Hmm.
But there are blends like coconut soy wax
Okay.
that kind of offer a middle ground.
Okay, so tell me more about coconut soy wax. It sounds very, like...
Luxurious.
Yes.
It is. Coconut soy wax is a premium blend.
Hmm.
And it kind of combines the clean-burning benefits of soy wax
Okay.
with a stronger set of throw
Hmm.
and just a beautiful, like, creamy texture.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's often favored by, like, high-end brands
Okay.
and those looking for just a more luxurious experience.
Cost-wise, how does coconut soy wax measure up to regular soy wax?
Well, regular soy wax typically runs like $2 to $4 per pound.
Okay.
And coconut soy wax is a bit pricier.
Okay.
Coming in around like $4 to $6 per pound.
So considering all of these factors, if I want to choose the right wax for my candles,
Yeah.
how do I make that decision?
It really boils down to a few key things, like your target market, your budget, and just the kind of candle experience that you want to create.
Right.
So ask yourself, are you catering to a customer who's eco-conscious and values natural ingredients? Do you want a candle that provides a more subtle aroma or one that packs a powerful fragrance punch?
It's like choosing the foundation for a house.
Yes.
You need to get it right
Yes, you do.
from the start.
And once you've laid that foundation, you can move on to the next crucial element.
Okay.
Selecting the right wick.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about wax,
Yeah.
like the heart of the candle. What about the wick?
Oh, the wick is like more crucial than people realize.
Really?
Yeah, it's what draws that melted wax up and allows the candle to burn.
Okay.
Choosing the wrong wick can lead to like a whole host of problems.
Oh, no.
Like tunneling, where the wax only melts around the wick, or excessive soot,
Yeah.
which can ruin the whole like ambiance you're trying to create.
Yeah. So how do we make sure we're choosing the right wick?
Well, first, you need to understand that wicks come in like different sizes and materials, each designed for specific types of wax and candle sizes.
Oh.
So you'll need to consider the diameter of your candle vessel,
Okay.
the type of wax you're using, even the fragrance load.
Okay, so let's say I'm using soy wax in a standard size glass jar.
Okay.
Where do I even begin?
There are charts and guides available online that can like help you determine the right wick size based on those factors.
Got it.
But generally for soy wax, you'll want a wick that's specifically designed for that type of wax. That'll ensure a clean, even burn and prevent those, dreaded tunneling issues.
What about materials? Because I've seen candles with those like cool wooden wicks that make that like crackling sound.
Those are gaining popularity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they offer a very unique sensory experience.
Okay.
And they can add just a ton of luxury to your candles.
Yeah.
They're a great option if you're targeting a market that, appreciates those like artisanal details.
And they seem to fit in with that whole like natural friendly trend.
Exactly. And then for those who are like really committed to sustainability, there are hemp wicks.
Okay.
Which are made from hemp.
Obviously, yeah.
Yes.
This is starting to feel like a science experiment.
I know.
There's like so many options and variables.
Yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming at first.
Right.
I remember when I was starting out, I made the mistake of using a wick that was too small for my candle.
Oh, no.
And it ended up tunneling like crazy, but it was a good learning experience.
So you're saying like trial and error is part of it?
Definitely. Don't be afraid to experiment with different wick sizes and materials until you find what works best for your candles. You can even do like test burns of your candles with different wicks.
Interesting.
To see which one produces the most desirable flame scent throw and burn time.
Okay, so we've got our wax, we've got our wick. Now it's time to make those candles look visually appealing.
Okay.
Let's talk vessels and packaging.
This is where branding comes in. The vessel that you choose.
Yeah.
It's an extension of your brand identity.
Okay.
It can evoke certain emotions, convey a specific style, and even influence like the perceived value of your candle.
It's more than just like a container. It's the first thing that people see.
Yes.
And it could
make or break that decision to buy.
So thinking about that target market again.
Yes.
Are they drawn to that like minimalist modern aesthetic? Would they prefer something more rustic, farmhousey, or elegant and luxurious.
Right. And there are so many options available.
Yeah.
Glass jars, ceramic containers, tins,
Mhm.
even those like trendy wooden dough bowls.
Okay, so many choices.
Yeah. Yeah. Glass jars are always a classic.
Right.
And they offer a lot of versatility in
Mm.
terms of size and shape.
Okay.
Ceramic containers can add like a touch of sophistication.
Mm.
And they're often reusable,
Right.
which appeals to like the eco-conscious consumer.
Right.
And then tins are great for travel candles
Okay.
or creating that, more industrial look.
I imagine packaging also plays
Yes.
like a crucial role in
That's
elevating
the-
that presentation.
Packaging is like the finishing touch.
Mm.
It can enhance the perceived value of your candles
Yeah.
and create a memorable unboxing experience
Right.
for your customers.
So we're talking
Yeah.
custom branded boxes,
Yes.
eco-friendly fillers, maybe a handwritten thank you note.
Yeah, all those little details.
Yeah.
They make a difference.
Right, because he shows that you care
Yes.
about the customer.
It's all about creating that cohesive brand identity
Right?
from the candle itself
Yeah.
to the packaging it arrives in.
Okay, so we've covered wax, wicks, vessels, packaging. Now let's get down to like the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
The candle formula itself,
Right.
I'm really eager to learn about
Yeah.
scent selection and like how to create
Yeah.
those captivating fragrances that just draw people in.
That's where the real magic happens.
Yeah.
But before we delve into like the world of fragrance trends and blending techniques, we need to talk about pricing.
Okay.
After all, you're building a business,
Right.
and profitability is key.
So we've covered a lot of ground already,
Yeah.
choosing the right wax and wick,
Hmm.
creating that visually appealing brand.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about like the business side of things.
Okay.
How do we make sure that our candle venture is not just creatively fulfilling,
Right.
but also financially sustainable?
Yeah, that's where pricing strategy comes in.
Right.
And this is one of those things that a lot of like creative entrepreneurs struggle with. But it's absolutely crucial for building a successful business.
I imagine it's so easy to like undervalue your work
Yeah,
when you're so passionate about it.
absolutely.
But
Yeah,
we need to make sure
Yeah.
we're covering our costs and making a profit.
exactly. And there's a balance to strike.
Right.
You want your candles to be competitively,
Right.
but you also don't want to sell yourself short.
Huh.
And the research that we looked at suggests that a lot of candle businesses
Yeah.
actually underestimate their costs,
Really?
which can lead to like financial struggles down the line.
So how do we determine
Yeah.
the right price for our candles? What factors do we need to consider?
Well, the first step is to like calculate your total cost per candle.
Okay.
And this includes everything.
Right.
The wax, the wicks, the fragrance oils,
The vessel.
the packaging, even like the labels and stickers.
It's so easy to forget about those little things.
Yeah, they add up.
They do.
So once you have a clear understanding of your cost,
Right.
you can start thinking about your desired profit margin. How much profit do you want to make
Right.
on each candle?
Is there like a standard that most candle businesses aim for?
It varies depending on a lot of different things,
Okay.
like your target market, your branding,
Yeah.
and like just the overall market conditions.
Right.
But generally, like a profit margin of around 50% to 70%
Okay.
is a good like starting point.
So if my cost per candle is, let's say, $5, I should aim to sell it for around $10.
That's a rough estimate.
Okay.
You also need to consider what your competitors are
Right.
charging for similar candles.
Huh.
You don't want to price yourself out of the market,
Right.
but you also don't want to be like the cheapest option.
Right.
Remember, price often reflects perceived value.
That is such a good point.
Yeah.
So if I'm using high-quality ingredients,
Yeah.
creating unique scents, beautiful packaging,
Right.
I can charge you
Yes.
a premium price.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to like experiment with different pricing strategies.
Right.
You could offer, tiered pricing or different sizes of candles, create bundle deals
Right.
to encourage larger purchases,
Right.
or even introduce like limited edition collections at a higher price point.
There's so much more to pricing than I realized.
It's almost an art form in itself.
It is.
Yeah, it requires a good understanding of,
Yep.
your cost, your market, and your overall business goals.
Okay, so we've got our candle priced right. But how do we get those candles
Yeah.
in front of customers?
All right, let's talk marketing and sales channels.
Okay.
And thankfully, there are more options
Yeah.
than ever before.
Right.
The rise of e-commerce has really opened up opportunities for small businesses,
Yeah.
especially in the creative space.
So I'm thinking like Etsy, Amazon, handmade.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Etsy is great for those who want to really emphasize
Hmm.
that like handmade artisanal aspect of their candles. And
Yeah.
then Amazon Handmade offers like access to a massive marketplace
Right.
with just a huge customer base.
What about building your own website through
Yeah,
Shopify?
that's a great option if you want to have like complete control
That's
over
right.
your branding and your customer experience.
Got it.
Having your own website gives you more flexibility in terms of design, content, and even like pricing strategies.
And social media, I'm sure, plays
Oh,
in
absolutely.
all of this.
Yeah, platforms like Instagram and TikTok are so powerful
Mm,
for like visual brands, like candle businesses.
right?
You can showcase your products through beautiful photos and videos,
Yeah.
engage with potential customers,
Okay.
and even run targeted ads to reach your ideal audience.
And we can't forget about,
Yeah.
the power of, local markets.
Yes,
Pop-up shops.
those in-person interactions are invaluable.
Yeah.
Customers can see, smell, even touch your candles,
Right.
which can be a huge selling point.
Yeah.
And you get that direct feedback on your products and build relationships
Right.
within your community.
It sounds like there's, a marketing strategy for
Yeah,
every personality and business model.
exactly. The key is to find the channels that resonate with your target audience
Right.
and align with your brand identity.
And it's an ongoing process.
It is, and you need to consistently be creating
Yeah.
engaging content, interacting with your followers,
Right.
and staying on top of trend.
Right, to keep your brand fresh.
Exactly.
Okay, this all sounds super exciting,
Yeah.
but also a bit daunting.
It can be a bit overwhelming, but
Right.
it's also incredibly rewarding.
Mhm.
There's nothing quite like seeing your creative vision come to life
Yeah.
and knowing that you're building something from the ground up.
And we don't have to do it alone, right?
There are so many resources available.
Okay.
Communities of candle makers.
Right.
And even business mentors who can
Mhm.
guide you along the way.
That's a great reminder.
Yeah.
There's a whole community out there
Yeah. It's
who are ready to help. But
Absolutely.
to all of our inspiring candlepreneurs out there,
Yes.
we wish you the best of luck
Good luck.
on your journey.
Hmm.
May your candles burn brightly
Yes.
and your businesses flourish.
And until next time,
Yeah.
keep those creative sparks flying.